You're wedging yourself into a small airplane row while carrying a screaming toddler or a screaming baby, and you've got a backpack on that basically the zipper just split on your way down the jetway. You've got an extra large pizza in your hands because the line at Starbucks was too long. And with aforementioned pizza is this huge Mountain Dew fountain soda, which is dripping all over your shirt, but it's worth it because caffeine.
Welcome to Amy Liz Harrison's podcast, Eternally Amy, a mum of eight's journey from jail to joy. A Gen Xer who overcame her struggle with alcohol to become a best-selling author and mental health advocate. She shares stories of hope and offers ideas for others struggling with mental health challenges, spirituality, ADHD, or maybe just family, travel, and logistics. One thing is for sure, you'll leave with something to chew on. And now, here's your host, Amy Liz Harrison, with your mystery meat sandwich.
Greetings, compadres. Serving up your mystery meat sandwich today is the great Benjamin Franklin. And he says, "Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I may remember. Involve me and I learn." So I thought of this because today's episode is all about traveling with kids and how it's not a vacation, it's a business trip. And so my son and I were talking about packing, and we were talking about all of the trips that we've taken in the past. And, we're an airline family. My husband works for an airline, and so we've taken many trips. We have many memories and many instances of packing conundrums and things happening. And we're talking about how as kids, they took some very interesting things on some trips. And one time, one child who shall remain nameless took a flute and a yearbook in lieu of clothing on a trip. And I had a newborn at the time, and my head was just not attached to my body. And usually I do a quick glance through everyone's bag and I kind of inventory it, make sure they kind of have the essentials. And I failed to do that in the case of this one child. And so there you have it. That's what the child had for a trip, was a flute and a yearbook. And so some may judge me, but I do let my kids have primary agency over their own packing. And we start that very young because I don't want to get caught in that cycle of packing for my kids forevermore. I have enough trouble packing for myself. And really, truly, I know that the way that they don't forget things is when they learn to do it themselves. And of course, in most cases, I do check through it and kind of ask them questions about, do you think maybe there's something you forgot that involves oral hygiene, for example? Oh, yeah, a toothbrush, that kind of thing. So when I failed to do that over the years, it's, I don't know, it's yielded some interesting results, I guess I should say. Another time, one of my kids went off to outdoor education camp or science camp, whatever you call it, and forgot to bring a towel. And I'm here to tell you, if you've ever gone a week without a towel, it's tough. I mean, you can kind of try and get away with paper towels, but it's not pleasant. And that child never forgot a towel again at any kind of camp. And speaking of camp, another child went off to camp and left all their underwear at home. And while they do a lot of water activities at aforementioned camp, it is a real bummer when you have to kind of rely on your swimsuit in lieu of underwear, but your swimsuit is soaking wet all the time. So that child never forgot underwear again. And it's these little things, right, where once you're involved in the process, you really learn and you kind of see the consequences, right? It's the natural consequences. And, I'm all about that because when nature makes the rules, I don't know, sorry, but kind of like the opposite of that. So, not sorry. And it's just kind of the way the cookie crumbles. So, in today's episode, here's the deal. I'm going to give you a little roadmap. I'm going to tell you where we're going with this particular episode so you have a heads up. So, we're going to have an episode about traveling with kids. It's not a vacation, it's a business trip. And I know you can relate if you've had kids in tow before on an airplane. And specifically, guys, I'm talking about kids under 5. And then at the end of that, we will have a guided meditation because it is only apropos, right? And with that, here is your chaplain's chat.
And now, onto the chaplain's chat.
Okay, welcome to the chaplain's chat. Traveling with kids, it's not a vacation, it's a business trip. So my husband works for an airline and we do a lot of traveling. Many of you know this, and I mention this from time to time. And, it causes us to have a lot of conversations about why is airline travel so stressful these days. And my brother-in-law, who lives in Australia, he had just the best way of putting it. He said to me a few years ago, once I get to the airport, I'm angry. I'm just angry and I remain angry until I arrive at my destination. And I can totally relate. That's such a good way of putting it. And, basically what it is, guys, right? If you really think about the overarching principles of it, it's two things. It's the unknown factors and it's the unpredictability. And as adults, those things are hard enough to navigate. Am I right? And so with kids, it adds that element of just sheer difficulty. Like it's more than just, this is kind of unpleasant. It's like, ooh, this is difficult. Just difficult logistically, difficult mentally. It's just difficult, right? So let me first differentiate between a vacation and a business trip / traveling with kids. So I'm going to kind of use those interchangeably, right? So a vacation is somewhere where you get to go have adventures at will. You get to make decisions at the drop of a hat. You don't have to cook unless you find that enjoyable, or depending on what your pleasure is, you go and you just sit on your duff poolside with a server who brings you blended beverages and bottles of sunscreen and fresh towels and menus so that you can just order lunch or snacks or anything you want. So a business trip, of course, is when you're traveling with kids and you have all of those same elements that you have at home, but it's somewhere else. Okay. So, particularly if you are a stay at home parent or a partial stay at home parent or a work from home parent and stay at home parent, then your job, what I'm saying, essentially remains the same. It just switches temporarily to a different location. And if I may be so bold to add this, it is even more stressful at times than having your job be at home, and your job meaning parenting at home, because you're out of your element and you may not have the regular systems and equipment that you're accustomed to. The conditions can be different, right? And all of those things, they just become stressful because they're different, right? Where's the blah, blah, blah? Anybody seen this? Anybody find that? Whatever. And everybody is looking to you. This is the second part of it that's stressful, to set the tone of having a total blast. And so you have to switch gears and have your mindset and your mental and emotional game be at like DEFCON 5, basically at all times. So you're going to have to fight for moments of relaxation and connection with others. But I'm telling you, it is possible and definitely worth it. But I mean, it is a business trip, right? And so the reason that we choose to travel with our kids, other than it's part of the perks of my husband's job and we're able to, but it's because we do see the bigger picture. We do know the benefits of building these memories together, but it's just stressful, you guys. And so I'm going to talk about a few different elements and ways, practical ways that I've found to make them just a hair less stressful. Just a hair. That's all I'm promising, people. Okay. So nobody needs to, first of all, remind you, though, the joys of air travel of yesteryear, right? You've all seen those old uh, pieces of footage of like Pan Am back in the heyday, right? And air travel was a big, big thing. It was a big deal. You'd walk onto this airplane, spaciously look at the seats in front of you, maybe 2 seats per row. And so you get in your seat, there's a place for you to put your attache case, and you're all dressed up in your finest suit or dress because you've gone out and gotten a new outfit for the flight, right? So maybe you have like a big old long, like a floor length wool coat, and there's somewhere to hang it. And it's all very regal. And then later in flight, you have your champagne and your wines from the different regions of France, and there's china and silverware, and you get to partake of your filet mignon with your rice pilaf and roasted asparagus, right? And today, in comparison, not so much anymore, right? So first of all, figuring out where to park or getting an Uber. And of course, as I always seem to get, that one Uber driver who doesn't believe in air conditioning and prefers a mix on the radio of country music and EDM. And already I have a headache, haven't even left the neighborhood yet. Or we're parking and it's just a zoo. And of course, there's a motorcycle in the last parking spot in the entire complex. That's my favorite. And so then you get inside the airport and you get the pleasure of receiving a cheap pat down. And the lines are worse than Disneyland on the first day back from the pandemic. And you're wedging yourself into a small airplane row while carrying a screaming toddler or a screaming baby. And you've got a backpack on that basically the zipper just split on your way down the jetway. You've got an extra large pizza in your hands because the line at Starbucks was too long. And with aforementioned pizza is this huge Mountain Dew fountain soda, which is dripping all over your shirt, but it's worth it because caffeine. So that is exactly what I've experienced over time, many, many times before, and survived it. Barely. I'm still here to recount it. And even talking about it brings me a measure of PTSD, and I'm not exaggerating. So basically, it's that unpredictability, it's the unknown factors, and that all is evidenced by all of the airport stress, losing items, the food lines. So there are 4 things that I'd like to talk about within that category of the stress factors. So before you even board the plane, okay? We're going to start there before you even board the plane. So this is something that I can't say enough about is, again, if we're talking about kids under 5, a stroller. Okay. Oh my word. A stroller is a genius item, particularly if the said stroller is collapsible and you can bring it on the plane. So we have a stroller, you guys, that folds up basically into like a piece of origami. Okay. We don't have to fold it up and then wait for it on the other side at our destination because we bring it straight on the plane. And it does slide right under the seat in front of us or in the overhead compartment, which either one of those places that might have some room left in it is where we place it. But it is key to not have to wait at the other side for the stroller. So if your child is old enough that they don't have to be in the whole rigmarole with the infant seat and the big stroller or the double stroller or the triple stroller, which I have also had in my past, yikes. But if you get to the point where you can have a smaller stroller, an umbrella type stroller that you can, easily fold down and your kid doesn't have to be in an infant seat, then this is just the best thing ever because it helps keep your kid contained in the airport and also jackets or a diaper bag, maybe, or any kind of a little small backpack of kid toys. You can hang it onto the stroller handles with a carabiner or a zip tie, two of, I think, the world's greatest inventions ever for multiple reasons. But here's another reason why. And P.S., if you bring zip ties with you, yes, they're life-changing, but you'll need a way to unclip them. And since you can't bring scissors on a plane, bring a small set of toenail clippers, fingernail clippers, and that works beautifully. You can just unclip the zip tie or try the carabiner option if you haven't done that yet. So stroller. Next is snacks. Okay, I'm just going to say this. Bring more frickin' snacks than you think you will need. If you have a baby, bring formula and diapers. Okay? You truly have no idea what is going to happen, right? It's that unknown unpredictability thing. So if there's a delay, maybe you even in a worst case scenario have to land somewhere else other than where you planned. You may get in super late. Okay. You just don't know. You just don't know. So bring extras. So I do know for a fact that my anxiety stems from episodes of this in my past. And now every time I see like a news clip of a plane that was diverted, they were going to land in Chicago, but it was snowing. So instead, they're in like, I don't know, some other place, Duluth, Minnesota. I have no idea, which I don't know why I said that because I know it snows a lot there too, but just go with it for the sake of the example. I'll get this overwhelming sense of, I'm never traveling again, which is never true because then I always do it again because I'm a glutton for punishment, apparently. Sidebar. Let's be real because now my youngest is going to be 5 in September. And so really, we're slowly climbing out of that phase, but I'm telling you, it felt like it was forever when I was in it. And like I've been in it for my whole life. That's how it feels. But being a glutton for punishment, I just do it again. It's like childbirth. I just do it again. I just do it again. Although I'm not doing it again anymore, but that's how it goes, right? You just get these like, I think we should go on a trip, kind of like delusions of grandeur. Someone out there is with me. Okay, next after snacks is luggage. People, I know it's not always possible, but carry on when possible. A lot of times for us, this hasn't been possible when we have the whole family in tow. We have been that family who's checking 13 bags through, but, hey, If you're a smaller family or if you rent a condo or an Airbnb house or something with a washing machine and a dryer, I can't stress it enough. If it's possible, at all costs, just carry on. And I say this perhaps because we may or may not have had an incident at one time when we arrived super late one night in Maui. I mean, potentially, right? I mean, this is an example, right? And accidentally left a suitcase on the baggage carousel. And we drove maybe to our Airbnb an hour and a half away. And no big deal, except that, perhaps, and this is just spitballing here, that suitcase contained the bed that our baby was accustomed to sleeping in at the time and would not go to sleep without it. Ergo, I recommend carrying on, if at all possible, to avoid this hypothetical situation. Lastly, on this whole airport stress idea, is to keep in mind when you're packing that you're not going to a third world country and you will be able to buy most things at your destination should you need them. Okay. So, start out with a little bit of sunscreen. If you're going to a place other than a tropical vacation where you're obviously going to need a ton of it, right? And then if you find you need more there, you can purchase it, right? If, however, there are things that your kid really needs, either for the first few nights of sleep or for pool safety or for something that they're very used to having at home, just bring it, okay? And a good rule of thumb that I have found is to just say to yourself as you're packing, how important is this particular item? I know you probably really like that snorkel, but if you're going to Vermont to go skiing, you probably don't need it, right? And I'm going to tell you, I have hauled things you don't even want to know. Like, I'm embarrassed to tell you how many rain ponchos and emergency sewing kits. P.S. I don't even sew. Like, if I lose a button, that's it. Like, the outfit goes in the trash, basically. I may exaggerate. Usually I have my mom help me. But these items and similar items have literally gone around the world with me at different points in my life on a field trip. And these items have never seen the light of day, but have instead lived inside my suitcase, enjoying the ride. So really, those just in case items, most likely you are not going to need. Okay. That's been my experience. It could change tomorrow, but as of this moment, I say, unless there's a really good reason, then leave them at home. That's my 2 cents. Okay. Look, I don't make the rules. I'm just saying it's been my experience. The next section that I want to touch on is kid boredom. So now we're on the plane. Kid boredom, device troubles, headphones on small ears. These are the things that I'm going to discuss. So look, I'm going to start out by saying this. I'm not a huge fan of hours upon hours of screen time in general. I'm also not against screens. Those of you who know me well are laughing your ass off right now because I love TV and I grew up watching a lot of TV and I turned out arguably semi-coherent, or at least I can fake it. But nothing will make me drop to my knees and beg for mercy faster than a screaming toddler that belongs to me on a flight. And I'm just going to tell you that I will allow things I normally would never allow on an airplane. You know what I'm saying? Anybody out there feeling me? If a kid wants to eat chocolate and potato chips and Coke and, whatever the whole flight, then I say go for it. You want to have Fatal Attraction playing on repeat? Bob's your uncle. You do you, whatever you need, you are welcome to it on a plane. It's almost like a plane is a sacred space to me where you can do whatever you flipping want. right? It's like international airspace or whatever. It's like duty free. Just you get to do what you want. That's how I deal with toddlers on planes. So, for those of you like me who are in camp screen for days, I'm going to tell you how to kill two birds with one stone. So, now on most planes, or nowadays, I guess most newer planes that have newer technology, they have satellite or some kind of internet streaming system network that you can log into on your own device. And sometimes this is easier said than done. Sometimes it proves to be super difficult. And sometimes you're flying over like another country, or there are spotty areas of service. And I don't know, it's just not ideal sometimes, which is fine. But it does present a problem when you have a toddler, I have found, or it can, and your kid's episode of Dora the Explorer is no longer loading and it's stuck on pause, and your toddler is beginning to become a little bit mildly impatient with that. Okay. I'm going to tell you, if you're lucky enough to find at a garage sale, or possibly, I would say on eBay, get a portable DVD player. Get like 4 movies that you can play, and they look like they're little CDs. If you know what that is, you got to look all this up if you're young, okay? And they're on these discs, and just get like 4 of them. And then you've got a DVD player and you can watch them on repeat. Your kid is at an age, right, where they want to watch the same thing over and over again. I don't know why. That is a toddler thing. I'm sure it's developmental, but I can't tell you why. I've had 8 of them. That's all I can say. You're welcome. My brain is gone. So that's all you need. The DVD player, the headphones, don't forget those, and I'll touch on those in a second. The headphones, which are essential because they will not let you play any device at all without headphones these days, currently at this moment. And it is understandable why. Okay, so you need the headphones, the DVD player, and the movies, or if you want to go the device route, that. Then last but not least, super important for this, you need the electrical cord that it goes with, or a couple of sets of good old Duracell batteries if you've got the DVD player that's portable. Yes, 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 the batteries, don't forget. Now, back to the headphones. Planes are a little bit cold for little ones, and so you want to be sure to bring a warm outfit or a sweatshirt. You'll see where I'm going with this in a second about the headphones, or some kind of warming implement for your kid, right? Now, remember, their little ears are super tiny below age 5. They're certainly not going to be able to hold AirPods in their ears, or even those kind of like adult-sized kind of Sony Walkman-esque headphones to attach to a device. No. It's just kind of hard in general to keep kid headphones on. It's just difficult. But if you put a beanie on your kid's head, so like a snow hat, a beanie, that will help keep the headphones on their head, and they won't have to sit there kind of monkeying around with them and asking for you to help them. Okay? Put those on, and then the beanie helps also keep their head warm. Boom. That's it. Drop mic on that. It's like the best. Next tip for on the plane that I have for you is Dollar Tree or similar appropriately aged toys. So I am suggesting, and this is a great opportunity for a grandparent who doesn't really like to babysit to get involved, okay? Say, yo, grandparent, you know how you could help me out in helping me make this trip a success? You could get in your Cadillac and roll down to Dollar Tree and get me some age appropriate toys. I would say one per 30 minutes. It creates this awesome environment for your kid where they every 30 minutes get to open something new. And when I say open, here's what I mean. Here's what you're going to do. You want to get those vellum party favor bags, or you can also use those wax paper kind of sandwich bags if you prefer. Just whatever it is where it doesn't involve plastic that your kid could put on their head and suffocate and die. Okay? That's what I'm trying to say there. So some kind of bag. And then when your grandparent gets back from Dollar Tree, or when you do with your age appropriate toys, you're going to wipe them off with an antibacterial wipe because COVID, because, other kids in the store sucking on them because germs. Okay? That's just all I'm going to say about that. And then you're going to place it in your bag and you're going to kind of roll it up and take Scotch tape and wrap that Scotch tape around it a few times. Now, here's why. Because it will take a hot minute or two for your kid to open that bag. They're going to kind of play with the Scotch tape. It's going to be kind of mildly interesting. And they don't have enough time to really get frustrated before it actually does come loose and the bag is open and they get to get the new whatever it is, Slinky or Hot Wheels car, whatever it is. Okay. And every 30 minutes, they get something new. And pretty much, I'm here to tell you that has been one of our biggest saving graces of all time, is unwrapping these little things. And I don't generally do it for short flights, especially now. My daughter, poor Audrina, who is the youngest, I mean, she really got the short end of the stick. We've just become lazy, and we hardly ever bring anything on for her unless it's like a super long flight. But this is all things that are tried and true and have definitely worked for us. And I guess the last thing I quickly want to say is just make sure that, as you know, because they're under age 3 or age 5, I mean, under 3 is generally what they say for choking hazards. Just make sure you're reading all that, right? The small pieces. I just have to say that. Okay. Next. So you finally landed. Okay. And you've landed, you've made it through the flight. And by the way, I think it goes without saying, but I will add here, flying is so stressful for all the reasons that I just mentioned, right? The unpredictability and the unknown factors generally. And those things always were triggers for me to drink. And so if you are trying to stay sober, it's tough. I would suggest maybe do your first few flights without children, if at all possible. And sometimes it's not. So if it's not possible, if it's possible at all in your budget to afford bringing a babysitter, please do. It will change your life. I digressed. Anyway, back to when you've landed. You're going to be tired. Your kid will be tired. And if you have to rent a car, no problem. But I suggest signing up for those preferred programs because it's free. You just do it online, when you're ordering your rental car, not ordering, what the heck is the word? Reserving. And they then have your credit card number, they have all your preferences, they have all the things. And this ensures that when you land and you're tired, you walk up to the correct company, you bypass the desk and you go straight to where the vehicles are kept, and you look on a screen. Your name is there with the stall number of your vehicle that you've reserved. Boom, done, period, end of story. Easiest thing in the world, and I highly recommend it. Okay, so if you are somewhere where you're not renting a car and you can afford it or put it in your vacation budget, I would highly recommend getting a driver as opposed to an Uber. Of course, this driver is going to be waiting for you when you reach the bottom of the escalator with a sign with your last name on it. And this person will help you with your bags. This person will help you if you need to stop and pick things up off the baggage carousel. I mean, this person is like basically standing there with a halo above their head, and it's the best feeling ever. I don't know what to tell you. They worry about all the headaches. They, load your bags. They know where they're going. They know where your destination is. They're not going to get lost. You're done, right? And a note on car seats. Car seats are a pain in the ass. I don't know what else to tell you, but when they get to a certain age, there are inflatable car seats that you can blow up upon arrival so that you don't have to lug, the big, huge, massive, 5-point harness car seat thing. This is when they get a little bit older, right? And the laws change all the time, so I'm not going to tell you exactly how old. You have to look this up for yourself. But we use these inflatable car seats, and you blow them up, but they stuff down really nicely to fit in, the front pocket of a backpack or a suitcase. They're like another amazing invention, okay? Just like the zip ties and the carabiners, which, by the way, I did not mention this in the onboard, on plane section of this podcast, but you can clip or zip anything to your kids so that they're not dropping things all the time, even crayons. We have tied crayons up with fishing line and secured them to a zip tie on the side of the kid's backpack. I'm just saying, I didn't want to be bending over every 2 seconds to pick things up or searching for them on the gross floor of the plane or airport restroom, which is another place they like to drop things. I digressed. Sorry about that. But anyway, back to the car seats. It is a life changer. It's a game changer, inflatable car seat booster. It's the best thing ever. I'm speechless. Okay. Lastly, on this, grocery delivery. Did you know that you can have groceries delivered to most destinations, into the apartment or house that you'll be staying in? If you're in a hotel, you can call up the concierge. You can ask them which grocery delivery service to use. You can get all that information, and you can have your unit stocked full of groceries, or you can just have the essentials. Yes, why is unit such an off-putting word? It's almost as bad as like moist. Anyway, I'm telling you, it is the little things like having coffee waiting for you in your hotel room, and maybe cereal, milk, baby food, formula. Maybe you want a package of diapers or swim diapers if you're at a swimming destination, snacks. To have those things waiting for you so you don't have to rush out to the store immediately when you get there, that is a luxury like no other. Okay? It is so much better than waking up in the morning, the first morning of your trip, and realizing you have no coffee and therefore no stamina or patience, and you have nothing to feed your child. You're welcome in advance. And last but not least, this is the wrap up of this portion of the episode. It is the single, solitary, most stressful and challenging part of traveling. And I mean, this is the most stressful thing across the board in general. It is more stressful than a toddler. It is more stressful than a spouse who you find difficult to travel with or a partner. It is the thing that makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up almost every single time, unless I really have my spiritual and mental game sharp on that particular day. Yes, Ladies and gentlemen, it is the TSA, which I like to refer to not as the Transportation Security Administration, but instead as the thousands standing around. I don't care if you have Clear, PreCheck, Nexus, maybe you're a lottery winner from 1987. Maybe you are a daughter of one of the descendants of the first persons to make it to this country. I don't care. I don't care if you have employee access. I don't care if you're in the trusted traveler program, if you have global entry. None of it makes it better. And well, all right, that's kind of a lie. PreCheck does make things better. PreCheck and Clear, a little better. Okay. But I know this because I have like all of those things except for the lottery winner. I don't have that. And they just really don't do a whole lot to make the TSA less stressful. A little bit. They do help a little bit. So I don't have any tips for it. I'm here to tell you. The TSA renders me speechless on this topic. It is a stress like no other. And I think that the biggest deal for this is that it, no matter what, disrupts you, right? So if you have a sleeping baby and you walk up there, they want you to take the baby out of the stroller or out of the infant car seat. So essentially, you have to wake the baby up. They want your toddler shoes off. I mean, you name it, it's stressful. And it is also stressful because every single airport has slightly different preferences and rules. And it is just difficult. And of course, they say that they don't, but we all know that they really do. It's a lie from the pit of hell. They do not all have the same rules. And even if you're kind of nerding out and going through the TSA website, like I have done, ultimately, they do tell you it is up to the TSA agent to make the call on what you're allowed to bring on board and not bring on board. So there you go. And yes, I have had many occurrences where, for example, I have gotten through the TSA with a pair of kitchen shears by accident, but they didn't catch it. But they did catch my coconut syrup from Maui. So we can all rest assured that we're safe because they didn't allow my syrup through, right? Now I'm getting riled up and I'm getting off track, and it's not helpful. And so I do believe that the Kabuki Theater and the Smoke and Mirrors, I mean, the TSA, pardon me, is ultimately here to teach me personally, not you, patience and love and tolerance. And it's here to humble me. It is here to remind me that I'm not in charge. And it is here to offer me another effing growth opportunity. And I only have one tip for you, and that is meditation. That is my only tip for TSA. And that is how we are going to move into the current meditation portion of this episode, because now I'm triggered by the TSA and I need it. This is a meditation for when you're stressed and you feel out of control. First, I want to say that meditation is a practice, and so there's no such thing as doing it perfectly. You practice it, and your practice is enough, and you are enough. So, unless you're driving, close your eyes and drink in a deep breath from your belly as if you're drawing from the very depths of your soul. And exhale. And maybe your heart is racing right now. Maybe your throat is dry. Maybe you're experiencing some anxiety in your chest. I invite you to take another deep breath from your soul and let the air out forcefully, like that, as if you're trying to make a clear spot on the glass door of a steamy shower. And then shake your head around gently to loosen up your neck. And try to keep in mind that you don't need the perfect conditions in order to meditate. No need to be burning sage. You don't need to be sitting cross-legged on a meditation cushion. Those elements are wonderful if you have them, but if you don't, or if you're in a crowded or stressful place, just place your hand on your heart and know that you're one with your kinship with others meditating right now all over the world. And you can even imagine that you're in India right now at a meditation practice. And if you were in India right now, you would be well aware of all of the sounds of traffic, the horns honking, people talking, shouting. Maybe you would hear animal noises. Maybe babies would be crying. So whatever your present physical circumstances are, it is not relevant or reliant on your experience in your practice today. And it is certainly not relevant or reliant on the outcome. Take another deep breath from your belly, from the depths of your soul, and let its healing effect wash over you. Let it slow your heart rate. As your breathing reaches a slower, rhythmic pace, imagine all things that are loving. Goodness, mercy, hope, joy, charity. And now, imagine yourself exhaling fear. Everything that you'll be afraid that maybe you'll lose. Anything that maybe you're afraid you won't receive. Just let it all go. And repeat to yourself inside your head, I inhale love, I exhale fear. Pay attention to the physical sensation of breathing. Your breath is a miracle. And the goal of this meditation is to see everything as a miracle, even those stressful situations. I inhale love and I exhale fear. Affirmations are basically promises to your higher self, and with regular practice, you can become what you claim. So if you're able, place your hands together in a prayer position and place your hands between your eyes in symbolism of activating your third eye chakra. Or simply picture yourself activating the third eye chakra. Inhale from the depths of your soul and into that third eye chakra. And repeat to yourself inside your head the following affirmations. I inhale love, I exhale fear. I make plans but I remain flexible to the surprises that my higher power has in store for me. I inhale love, I exhale fear. The second affirmation is I expect the unexpected, and I wear life like a loose garment. Remember to inhale love and exhale fear. Third affirmation, I cultivate patience and self-confidence. Inhale love, exhale fear. Affirmation number 4, I close my eyes and I picture my heart with a rainbow of love pouring out and on to everyone I encounter. Inhale love, exhale fear. Affirmation number 5, I love myself and I give generous love and tolerance to others. Inhale love, exhale fear. Affirmation number 6, I remain curious to see what magic awaits me in the next moment of my day. Inhale love, exhale fear. Affirmation number 7, I am grateful for all experiences, and I do not rate them as good or bad necessarily. They just are, and I accept them. Inhale love, exhale fear. And now, I invite you to place your hand on your heart, or picture placing your hand on your heart, and say to yourself, I love you. Gently tap your chest with your palm to come back into the space, into the room, and slowly open your eyes. Thank you for joining me today in this practice. The loving light in me honors the loving light in you, and in that light, we are one. Namaste. For the bailout bag, bringing it back to the idea of the umbrella over all of the stress of travel, being the unpredictability and the unknown, remember that you are an incredible parent for bringing your kids out into the world together with you. You're actively involved in them experiencing the world, and it's priceless. Try to keep in mind you're choosing to make memories with your child and give them experiences, and basically that makes you a complete badass. A badass Olympian for braving travel. It is not for the faint of heart, and then again, neither is parenting. All right, be kind, rewind, and thank you for the honor of your time. Remember to take what you like and leave the rest behind.